Welcome to Dimensional Soup, where we question the unreal, the unexplained, and the bizarre. This is Season 1, Episode 1. Today we'll be discussing communications with the other side. Brought to us by Scrubbo. Swamp gas or swamp ass. Either way, Scrubbo soap will clean you up. All natural, affordable herbal soaps. You don't have to scrub off an arm and a leg for a quality clean. Alright, well, today, on my left, I've got our sound engineer, Tyler.
Hello.
And to my right, I've got Sean.
Hello.
Hello. He's not English, by the way, but he's very much Midwestern. You know what? Let's go ahead and jump into it. You know what? Have you guys heard about that new planet, Kepler 54-2b?
Yeah, I have. It's like, 1,076 light years away in the perfect, what do they call it?
Inhabitable zone?
Thank you.
Yeah, the inhabitable zone.
But it's like 60 times
Goldilocks
or 60%.
What'd you say?
The Goldilocks zone is what
there
some
you
people
go.
call
Yeah.
it.
60% bigger than Earth and possibly inhabited. Yeah.
I believe.
You believe? Yeah.
I believe. I mean, you have to.
It's hard not to, because especially any planet in the Goldilocks zone is going to be like the cesspool of life. So if anything gets on there, it's just going to have to grow.
I mean, but what if, a lot of people get into this whole thing of going, yay, hey, look what we found, and then it's just a complete bust.
You know what? That's happened in the past, but if we can prove that it's actually in the Goldilocks zone, it is a possibility. It has to be a possibility. I mean, it's not like Pluto, where, oh yeah, we found life on Pluto. No, that's really hard to believe. But we found this other planet that's just like Earth, a little bit bigger. Yeah,
a lot of it
bigger.
Possible. A lot of it bigger. I mean, 60%, considering that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. What if it's just too? Here's an interesting thought. Okay, so there's aliens, right? Right. So you got aliens. What if it's close enough for them as a more advanced society to come to us, but too far away for us to go to them? So what if what we're seeing in the skies are them? Finding us, and we finally found what is coming down to our planet and messing with us.
The problem with that is when you look at Einstein's theory of relativity, and you get to the closest speed of light, that's 1,000 light years away, right?
1,400 light years.
14. Well, I'm way off. Yeah. Okay, 14. Thank you. 1,400 light years away. The only way that they can even get here within 1,000 years is wormholes.
Well, what if they figure that out? Obviously, we haven't. That doesn't matter about us. What I'm saying is, what if it's close enough for a more advanced society than ours? Maybe they're 1 billion years older than we are. And they haven't destroyed themselves. And they figured out a nice, complex way of, getting their asses over here. But obviously, hey, finally, we found the planet that has been causing us to have these crazy people run around saying that we need tinfoil hats.
That is a possibility. But this is the first planet. Us little people down here on Earth, this is the first planet that we found that's in the Goldilocks zone. There's no telling how many planets out there that's in the Goldilocks zone.
Over billions.
I mean, so we can't say that this...
Millions,
Right. And so we can't say that this planet, they would be coming from this planet. But, if we prove that there is a planet in the Goldilocks zone, then that proves that the possibility is very high that other planets are in the Goldilocks zone.
Oh, no,
there might
that's
be
amazing.
Smaller planets that are closer that would be easier for us to get to.
It opens up a whole world of possibilities, the fact that we found one that's in this zone. It's interesting, and it's phenomenal, for sure.
I read another article where if this was possible, let's say that there is a race on that planet that is 60% bigger than Earth. They said that since it's 60% bigger, the gravity is going to be a lot heavier. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if we ever meet somebody that, let's say, that's coming from that planet, or let's say all the planets are in the Goldilocks zone, let's say 80% are bigger than Earth, these aliens are going to be much larger.
I was going to say Hulk Hogan's coming down.
Yeah, these things
with
are
their
going
feather boas and like ripping their shirts off
These
and like,
things
what's
are going
up?
to
I'm
have
an
like
alien.
muscles or whatever you.
There'd be bodybuilders coming down here.
Whatever moves their bones, it's going to be bigger because
Bigger and better.
if we're a small planet in a Goldilocks zone, these other aliens are going to be larger and stronger.
That's a good point. That
And
is
if
a
they
really
can
good
reach
point.
us more technologically advanced,
By a
so
lot.
we might be screwed.
Unless they're friendly.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I also read another
Maybe they're
article.
all about hugs.
Yeah, I highly doubt it because the article that I read just last week from a reliable source, I think from NASA or some other highly reputable source, is that we should not be advertising ourselves out there. We should be, we should kind of have a code of silence because if we do reach a more advanced civilization or more advanced race of whatever, these things could be hostile or could be wanting more resources, as we've seen in a lot of movies. But it is a plausible. It's plausible.
It is plausible. All right. So what about this uppers? Uppers. It stands for Upper Pennsylvania Paranormal Research Group.
Yeah. So I read this article just a couple days ago that there is a paranormal group out there that does not want to find paranormal stuff.
Why not? Hey, you can read all the Goosebumps books you want, but you don't have to go looking for that monster egg in your egg carton. I mean, it's a matter
Or
of
that doll.
That doll.
creepy
Oh my
doll.
God, that doll. The ventriloquist doll.
There were 3 books.
Oh
on
my God,
doll.
the red hair and it's got the freckles.
me out, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, I hated that. I had to watch that last week with my 14-year-old. It was terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a group out there. Yeah, we're calling you out, so you can go ahead and find us. It's more listens for us, but it's a matter of why. Why do you exist? Because you want to get around with your friends and say, "Hey, we like paranormal stuff. Let's not actually go and find anything." So you're just basically putting a name to something, to basically a club that's a bunch of. How should we put this?
So I'm a
lightly?
soccer club, but
Yeah.
we don't play soccer. We
Right,
just
exactly.
drink
Yeah.
beer and eat nachos.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
it.
And they spend a lot of time reviewing the videos and the audio, and they spend a lot of money on the technology that is needed to actually do this stuff. And they don't want to find paranormal stuff. They want to prove that, oh, you have rats in your house. So that was one of their things. Like, oh, I hear things in the walls and scary stuff is happening in the house. And they go there and they find a rat infestation, and then they call the city, and the city comes in and cleans it. And that's what they want to do.
So basically, they should be called the Upper Pennsylvania Debunking Research Group.
They should.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're wrongly naming themselves. However, they have found certain houses they could not explain the voices and the sounds that are coming from certain rooms. They could not explain whatsoever why that was happening, other than, oh my gosh, this is coming out of nowhere, and we don't have any evidence that says.
Did
that
they
it's-
run out? Did
that-
they run out of that house and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so scared"?
They just said, I don't know.
It's
I
probably that
don't
Goosebumps
know."
doll, man.
The Goosebumps
It
doll.
was a Goosebumps
That's-
doll.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Michigan people, for...
Pennsylvania.
Oh, is it Pennsylvania? Oh, I'm sorry, it is Pennsylvania.
Wait, no. Upper Peninsula.
Upper Peninsula, which is Michigan. That's what they call Michigan's, the Upper
Oh, I'm
Peninsula.
sorry.
Not
No, you were
not
right.
Florida, Michigan. So
Yeah, so it shows how much I know.
that's okay. Good luck to them. They're going to find some stuff out there. I know for a fact that they cannot explain, and they have found that stuff, and they just passed off as, I'm sorry, we can't explain this. Thank you
Right.
very much for paying us.
Right.
Right.
Fair enough. All right, so Pluto picks. All right, so old news. Everyone knows about Pluto.
Gotta talk about it though.
Oh, there's some
Huge,
high-res
huge.
has high-res pictures of Pluto. It's no longer a planet. It doesn't matter to me. It's a floating rock.
How dare you? Pluto is always a planet in my book.
No, that's fine. You
But
go
they
back to-
found what? How
you
many
go ahead-
moons does Pluto have? Like
I
4?
believe 4.
It's like insane because we thought it was 1, and it was rotating around
Well,
its
hold
own
on.
moon.
Hold on here. The most important part about Pluto that some people have found is, there might be pyramids on there, because obviously, since it's a planet, it's already been inhabited. or not planet, but it's a very large rock. So, finding nice pyramid shapes on there equals it used to be inhabited by humanoids. What do you think about that?
5 moons. They got
Five whole
five
moons?
whole moons.
Yeah.
Nyx, Styx, Hydra, Charon, and Kerberos.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Cool names.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah,
I like them.
I like Hydra. 'Cause
Hydra.
I was a StarCraft fan.
Hail
Yeah.
Hydra.
Yeah.
Hail
It's in
Hydra.
that,
I play the Zerg, so
No, fair enough.
3-headed dragon
Oh,
thingy. I don't know. But in my opinion, you can barely see the sun from Pluto. I mean, it's really, really far away. And 3 billion miles away. It took us 9 years to get there.
Did you see the picture of Pluto, though, where it showed the sun behind it? And it was like an eclipse.
No, I didn't see that.
It's,
Oh, that's
There's a
cool.
ring. There's a
I'm
ring.
looking at a picture right now on the internet, and it's pretty cool.
We'll post it up on the blog. We will.
There you go.
So we'll get to that a little bit later. But you know what? Let's get to our meat and potatoes.
Sure.
Let's get to our meat and potatoes.
Sure.
Sean, my co-host here,
Hello.
he's actually very in tune with the other side. As we said that we're going to be talking about today is the other side and communicating with. So today we decided that we might as well get to know one of our own who's going to be here all the time. So we kind of have some questions for him. We kind of want to pick his brain. We want to get through there and see what we can find out and get answers from him, or as many as we can. So, hi, Sean.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Justin.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Yeah, you've been talking a lot. It's good.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I like hearing your voice.
That's great.
But anyway, how did you find out? At what age did you find out that you really felt spirits or got hit by what you've got now?
Okay, so that's an easy question. I hear a lot of people get it from childhood, or they have a traumatic event happen in their life. Not me. I was sitting in a room completely full of computers during an internship during college. It was the year 2000, and I can pretty much pinpoint the day when stuff started happening. It was around July 5th, July 7th. And when I started experiencing things, I started seeing things, starting hearing things. It was a gradual work into where I am now, but it was a very quick journey to what I am experiencing now, or what I've experienced for the last 15 years. Which, yeah, I'm an old guy, so. That's
so the first thing you saw, what was it? Like, what was the very first thing?
the first thing I saw was in a military base which I was working in, and it was actual a shadow. The first thing I saw.
Okay.
Was this shadow like a person shaped, or was it just like a mist that kind of went away?
It's kind of like a. The best way to describe it is if you look at a, let's say a bulb for about 30 seconds, and then you look away. That is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It's not necessarily with your eyes, but you perceive it as being there.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's the best way to describe
Right on.
what I've seen.
Okay. Do you consider yourself psychic at all, or
I don't.
or does that kind of like within, like the actual people that are in tune? Like,
Yeah.
Is that kind of like an evil word?
No,
almost?
it's not necessarily evil, but it's very commercialized.
Yeah.
No, I never say anything like psychic,
Yeah.
just because
So you don't have a crystal ball.
there's no crystal ball, there's no little turban on my head with a crystal on it, there's no beads like in the doorway that you have to walk through. It's a gift, and that's what I call them, are gifts. Other people have them. I've met quite a few in my journey, so I prefer not to be called psychic. I prefer to be called a person that has gifts.
Can you develop gifts? Say you've never had an experience, you've seen maybe some weird things here and there. You're interested in paranormal, but I mean, I'm just using myself for example here. I've never seen kind of some of the stuff that you've talked about. Is that something you can tune into, you believe? Or is it just kind of... Because it sounds like you lived for 20 years, nothing happened, then boom, something happened.
Yeah.
Was that a connection in your brain? Was that a... I don't know, someone hit you with a wand, you know? Like, where does that come from?
That's a good question. The people that I have that have the gifts sometimes are born with it and they experience it. Some of them say they can't even shut it off. I can. You can flip it on and you can flip it off. It's a matter of your mindset. As for people that want to gain the gifts, in my experience, I have noticed that a lot of people have a certain level of sensitivity, but to start seeing and hearing and touching and knowing things, those usually cannot be taught. They're not taught. They're not acquired by any means, shape, or form. They either come to you or they don't. That's my experience. Now, the sensitive ones that have very little sensitivity, like they walk into a room and let's say, like there's a malevolent spirit in there and they start getting goosebumps. They can tune that to the highest level that they possibly can, but that doesn't mean that they're going to start reading people 5 years later when they start concentrating and working on trying. It's not an acquired gift, it's a given gift.
Right. So if you're around, like, just say like a good entity, I'm going to call them entities. I don't know what you want to call them, spirits, entities. Around a good entity versus a bad entity, what are the different feelings that you get around these? Because you can think that, sure, people want to say, hey, this entity is bad or good just because I feel something different. But, when you're around it, it's for real. It's a completely different thing. It could be good or bad. You start getting goosebumps. You're like, I'm completely scared of this thing because it's unknown. But for somebody that's actually experiencing it and living through it, like, what are the different feelings that you get, good versus bad, if you will?
That depends. That depends on your sensitivity. That depends on if you have any gifts to even perceive anything more. So, in my experience, when I've run into malevolent spirits, I get goosebumps, shivers, and a general, how would I put it? Just a feeling that I do not feel good right now.
Of unrest.
Not sick.
Uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable or
and,
unrest or
continuous shivering, goosebumps, and a very uncomfortable feeling.
So would you say, I mean, I've been in places where I'm like, man, this place feels weird. It's just like something's not right. And like, I felt that before, but I don't think I'm like in tune with stuff. Is there a difference between like imagination and being in tune with stuff? Or?
That is a really good question. I'm glad you brought that up.
Because there are spooky situations, I'm walking into this dark basement that's
right.
unfinished and I don't know, but I feel uneasy going down here because it's dark and spooky.
Yeah, and I just saw a random shadow just move.
Yeah, and it's a cat.
It could have been a dog. Or,
Right. Well, that is the problem with the gifts. That is one of the hard things about discerning gifts with imagination. Unfortunately, spiritual gifts, are on the same whiteboard as imagination. So, when somebody thinks that they are gifted, they have to start discerning what is their imagination and what's not. That is the hardest part about having gifts, is to start separating it, because I've made that mistake in the past.
Right.
And I've made a fool of myself. Oh my gosh, I made a fool of myself in public. And it was terrible experience. It was a terrible experience. But that was
probably more because you made an ass of yourself.
I made an absolute ass of myself. And it was almost all of my imagination.
Yeah.
Also, I could not discern what was the spirit was good or bad, or if it was even in spirit. And it was, at the beginning, it was all jumbled together. I didn't know who to trust, what to trust, or even to trust myself.
No.
And that's where people right there start, if they think they're gifted, or they start experiencing things that the thought train does not reach, or there's no thought train, things start happening, and there's no reason for them to think these things. I'm not going to say it's completely gifts, but it's really hard to start. You have to learn how to discern between imagination and what is your spiritual gifts, if you have a spiritual gifts.
Right.
And then if you have a spiritual gift, who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust the first spirit that starts talking to you? No. I've made a complete fool of myself just listening to these guys, and I've learned very early that you don't trust anybody that's talking into your head, and so you start verifying facts, true, hard, cold facts.
I mean, do you ever see like Billy Bob? Like Billy Bob's spirit? I mean, think about that. It's just kind of like, sure, you might have yourself some intelligent spirits out there that are intelligent from, their life before that carries over.
Yeah.
But, you still got, 90% of people are dumb. I mean, I'm sure you're going to run into a lot of dummies running around.
You're going to run into a lot of liars.
Liars.
That's the problem. They want attention. They got your attention, and they will stay because they have, I wouldn't say they have nothing else to do, but they have a live being able to communicate with them. And in my experience at the very beginning, when I started learning how this works, a lot of them, if not most of them, will start lying to you just to stay in your attention and to keep communicating with you. And they'll tell you anything.
How can you determine the ones that are lying versus the ones that are telling the truth?
You can't.
Okay,
That's
because you said that you have to verify. So
that's the only way, obviously.
Well, how do you verify?
How you verify? You start asking questions that, let's say, Bobby Joe wants to talk to his grandma. And, okay, then you try to reach out to a grandma, or somebody comes to you, and you have to start asking questions. What is your name? How old were you when you passed? Do you remember anything that Bobby Joe would know? And then you would have to start doing a series of questions to verify who you're actually talking to, because it's hard to lie, especially when you have very closed questions that are very specific.
Right. Makes sense. So, do some of these beings do they have more power than others? And when I say power, like, are some able to move objects? Are some able to talk? Some aren't able to talk.
Or
maybe
manifest.
Or
Have you ever seen any
manifest. Or yeah.
Manifestation, I have very limited experience with. Only one time. And
Was that a pretty powerful being?
that was not necessarily.
It takes a lot of energy for a spirit to
It has
manifest.
to, but most of my experiences, they cannot move anything in our realm. However, I was talking to some of my other gifted friends, and they were talking about manifestations, poltergeist, moving things around. I was like, I have no experience in that. I don't really believe in that, because I see these things, I hear these things, I know these things, but I've never seen that. And as soon as I said that, the picture behind me that on the couch that I was sitting on immediately fell to the ground. And I had to do a complete realization right then and there. There was no reason why it fell. It was held up by a nail, and it's been there for a year and a half, or about a year, and it was on a nail, and there was a wire holding onto it. So
And the nail was still there.
The nail was still there.
Right.
How the heck did that get off the wall? I was not a believer before then, and I was a believer after then.
Right.
But that was the only experience that I have of a manifestation.
When I think of manifestation, I always think of
like a shadow,
like a
being
shadow,
or some mist.
even a full manifestation where it looks like another human being, like right in front of you.
I see. I see.
That's what we mean by manifestation.
I see.
Manifestation.
I see. No.
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 Okay.
No, I've never experienced that because
Okay.
I've just never experienced that.
Fair enough. But back to the original, like the power of spirits. Like, do you sense? It doesn't even mean that they can move things, but the thought that there are some beings out there that are more powerful. And now
They
I
have
don't know
more-
what they can do, but can some simply show up
Yes.
but not talk? And can some just talk and show up but not do anything else? Or
Like
move
a better
between-
ghost, or you saying?
Yeah,
Like,
essentially, like
it's like this ghost is better at his job.
yeah.
than
Here's the
other ghosts.
Lamborghini, and
Yeah.
here's the Honda Civic.
No. Yes and no, actually. Some have more energy than others, but everybody can talk. Everybody has. I can sense that if they wish to talk, they can. However, when some are near that I have a powerful reaction to, those are not usually the good ones that I want to be around.
Does it catch you off guard?
It does not make me feel good.
Like, are you just walking at work or at your home, putting away dishes or laundry, and then all of a sudden this like bad spirit just hits you out of nowhere? Or is it more you're like in tune, trying to think of something, and
What-
you're open to it, and then it hits you?
Yes, it is possible that I have reacted very poorly to some spirits, but they were real people, and when I walked by them, I sensed they were. I sensed a lot of stuff when I walked by them. And one time I was going into McDonald's with my wife, and at that time was my girlfriend. I walked by this gentleman that was going to his car, and I about fell down. All the hackles on my neck raised up. All these images started coming into my head. They were terrible, terrible images, and I couldn't hardly breathe. And it was such a traumatic experience walking by that person. And I've only had one other one, and he was an inmate at the place that I was working at that had a similar experience. As for spirits themselves, yes, I've had 2 other occasions that I have met a spirit where the hackles came up on my neck, and I did have a very adverse reaction to them.
So back to the McDonald's thing.
Nuggets
Do you believe-
or Big Mac?
I was just fries. I got
Just some fries.
Oh.
I was
That
really
seems like
I was
a waste of
actually
trip.
really upset.
Were you
for
getting a McDonald's piece?
quite a bit. I was
Or not a McDonald's, Monopoly.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
Did
it
you
was
go there
the
for
time.
Monopoly?
Oh, yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
the time
why
when
else
Monopoly.
would you go over
This
there
is
other than
2000.
Monopoly?
This is 2001 when this happened. When I started getting all this. This is when that happened. So yeah, Monopoly was around at that
Oh,
time.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, what about the dude? Like, you just walked by him and you were like, "Oh my god!" Like, horrible.
I turned
Did the guy
around-
do horrible stuff?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. So what I seen was horrible.
Was it a
things.
human that you
It was
walked
a
by?
human. It was a person in a plaid shirt and in jeans walking
Young,
to his.
old?
He was probably maybe early 30s,
Rough
late
looking,
20s. No,
normal
he was
looking?
not. But the images that I seen, he was doing bad stuff at that time or shortly before that time. From my experiences now, at then I didn't know what was going on. I just was in like, oh my gosh, I just got flooded with these images, and this guy just walked by me. I turned around and I made an expletive towards him because I didn't know what to think, and he looked behind. I remember him turning around, looking at me, and just keep walking, and that was the end of that. And my wife now was like, what the heck is wrong with you? I was like, I can't talk about it right now. And it's always stuck with me. I should have confronted that dude. There's nothing I could have done. He wouldn't, he'd call me, crazy, whatnot, but I should have done something because I felt that I was helpless in such an adverse reaction, and the things that I seen, it was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's intense. Well, whenever you're, how about this? Let's lighten it up the mood a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's lighten up the mood a little bit because, we want to have a good time here.
Yeah, we do.
Sean.
Let me have a drink.
Sean, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, have you ever been in front of a spirit that made you laugh? Or
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like silly ones. Like, have you ever tried to call Groucho Marx? You should call Robin Williams.
I should.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I have a friend that when you have the gifts this long, I've had them for over 15 years, and they become a part of your life, and you forget about them. And the gifteds that are out there know what I'm talking about. They just become a part of you, and you really don't pay attention anymore because the excitement's over, and you just got to get back to life.
Right.
Like, he calls every once in a while. It's like, hey, you got this really cool thing. Let's try all this cool stuff out. You know, why don't you talk to so-and-so, or why don't you reach out to so-and-so?
Right.
And I've done that.
I mean, with as many kids as you've got, your family, your house, all the responsibilities of being a big
I
old
don't
adult.
have time for this.
It's hard to go and say, hey, I'm going to go take 30 minutes and go talk to Ron Williams and back.
Yeah, you know what? Some people do, but I cannot find the time.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. How about this? How about being humbled by a spirit? Have you ever ran into something, and instead of being, scared or happy or overjoyed to see it, have you ever been just humbled by, like, this is who I've run across, and that humbles me? Like,
Oh yeah. To answer your first question, yes, spirits have made jokes, and it was so freaking funny. When I started,
Tell me a ghost joke.
okay, so when I started getting into this, or when it started all coming to me, and I had a friend, and she called herself a spiritual guide that stayed with me all the time. So she was able to help me kind of work through all the confusion and whatnot. And I really appreciate it. Her name, interestingly enough, was Tetescu. And I still to this day, I think it's an Indian, like from India. I'm not sure, but I kind of sense that. I had never asked her. I should have just asked her, where'd you come from? But her name was Tetescu, and she was probably in her mid to late 20s when she passed. But she was with me for, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months. And she would just crack the funniest jokes while I'm at work, in the weirdest times. And she was a great energy to be around. To answer that question, yes, they have made funny jokes, and that's not the only time that I was able to crack up. As for humbling, yes, I have met some of those, and I've met them. I have to confess now, and because this is a part of the story that I'm about to go into, that I am a Christian, and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I have to say that when I first started getting these gifts, I was visited by a gentleman that just pretty much told me how things were. He said, Sean, you need to stop this, you need to stop this. And I'm serious. Stop this, stop that. You're doing this, and you know you shouldn't be doing this. You need to straighten your life up, And I was a late teenager. Actually, I was in 20. And that was extremely humbling because not only did he tell me, I wrote it down. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I still have that piece of paper 15 years later, and I keep it with me, and it reminds me of all the things.
Do you fold it up in your wallet, or?
I have a suitcase of all the writings that I've ever done, automatic writings, and all the communications with certain spirits. So yeah, I have a special suitcase just for those that I can go back and review.
Interesting.
And they are very humbling.
And this was a spirit you talked to?
Oh yeah, it was a spirit. Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called himself Samuel. So, yeah,
it was like an angel, or was it?
No, it was just a spirit. He was, but he was. It was like you were talking to a priest, a monk. He knew his stuff. He really did. So, and that was really humbling.
All right. Do you know any ghost jokes? Tell me a ghost joke. Don't tell me a ghost joke that Titskew told you.
Titescu? No, she just pretty much made fun of some people.
No, that's good. I just made fun of her. Hopefully she'll give you some right now.
Sorry, I don't have any.
You don't have any right off the
I don't have any. They're all
More situational.
Exactly.
All
You
right.
finish. You
like
finish
most
ones.
female comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not funny. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah.
I don't know. I listened to Amy Schumer the other day.
Amy Schumer's funny. Amy Schumer does have...
I went, ha!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
that's
for
about
you.
it. Yeah,
Good for you.
You know that makes you not sexist.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, that's what we need in our society today.
I am the group's feminist.
Yeah, that's good.
You
That's
look like
good.
a feminist.
It's true.
Aw,
You kind of
dude.
look like.
Dude,
Come on, man. I mean, this
this
little
beautiful
beard,
face I have.
that
light
that,
features.
that glowing mane on your face.
That
I'm a good
paleness
transition
and
for
smooth-
lesbians that are looking for men. I'm kind of the go-between.
Yeah.
I think it's the paleness of your skin.
Dude, I got outside last week.
Yeah. Good for you.
Good.
I had my
That's
shirt
awesome.
off. I caught a fish.
You caught a fish?
Caught a whole fish.
Nah,
Was
yeah.
that out of the Bass Pro
Out of a
Shop
pond.
fish
Out of a
pond that they
grandparents' pond, actually.
Oh,
A
okay.
delicious bass.
got? A
Good for
delicious bass. Did you eat it or did you throw it
It's
back?
in the freezer. I ate all the other ones, though.
It's a bass. That's gross.
My friend wanted it for his girlfriend and forgot it at my place, so I put it in the freezer.
Was that like his trophy? Like, look what I got for you, lady.
I caught you a delicious bass.
I'm the great white hunter.
Yep.
Great white hunter of bass.
Fisher.
Fisher. Yeah.
I say we
Yeah.
get back to Ghost.
You want to get back to ghosts?
I'm very interested in this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. We can. We got this guy here forever. You signed a contract.
I
by the
did.
way. So you're here for a
In
long
blood.
time.
In blood.
Yeah. It was gross.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah. It was weird.
It hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to talk about where we got that blood. Anyway. You know what? Through this journey, like, do you ever find yourself just walking into a place and like a ghost spirit or whatever entity comes up to you and starts talking, going, "Hey, you are gifted. You've got something." Instead of you always being the one to contact, are you ever the contactee?
No. Okay, let me rephrase that. Yes and no. When I was starting out, it was like a beacon. It was like a Facebook. I mean, they were just everywhere, and they wouldn't leave me alone. I don't know what I was doing. So they were always bothering me all the time. And most people that start receiving, and this is from experience because I've had friends that have become gifted, or they realize their gifts, it happens to everybody that starts getting the gifts. You just get swamped, like the Ghost Whisperer. You ever seen that show, The Ghost Whisperer? Yeah. Right? So they come contact her, or she sees him on the street or something, and then they's like, "Oh, you can see me." No, it's not really like that. They don't know you can see them until you contact them. But when you were first starting out, you're like throwing I don't know what you're doing, but I was throwing signals or something. I had a room full, 20, 30 spirits all trying to talk at once. And it was so frustrating, and it was driving me insane almost. And a lot of people kind of feel that way when they start getting gifts. And if it comes on them, that's what happens. So, no, they don't usually contact you because they don't know. Usually
Right.
have to contact them unless they themselves are gifted and they see it on you.
Right.
and
So
then
the spirit world can be gifted as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, the gifts are not of the body; they're of the spirit.
Right.
Therefore, they follow you. That's where you
Okay.
require them. They're definitely not of the body. They're not of your brain. They're of a different essence. So, obviously, they will follow you. That's why some psychics only have, or gifted people, they only have one gift, and that is to talk to the other side.
Right.
However, the person that they're talking to actually has more gifts than them. Therefore, they are able to act like they have more, but they don't.
So
But
they're
still
basically
gifted.
feeding off of some other spirit's
Not-
gift and able to use that to their advantage. Sometimes.
You say feeding, I say communicating. Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah, they I wouldn't call it cheating, but they do get extra
They'll
information
help.
that they
Yeah.
don't have access to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. That's good. Dang, I had a question for you there. You made me forget it. Okay. Well, how about this? Okay, so let's put you into a situation here. So you say that you can find you can hear these spirits almost all the time, right? If you were to open yourself up
Yeah.
right now. Is that almost everywhere that you go? Because
No. No, it's
No.
not. No,
No.
it's not. No, it's not like the other side is. They're on top of each other.
Right.
So, like your house,
Yeah.
there's nothing here,
Right.
right? However, depending on your gift, because your gifts can be from like one single thing up to a huge, broad of
Big
spectrum
yeah.
of gifts that you can have, and abilities that you can stretch. You could go and find. You can go and find a spirit if you wish to do so, but no, they're not sitting on top
Right.
of each other on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I'm thinking here, okay, humans have been around for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And real estate is very expensive here in our dimension world. So I'm like, are ghosts, do they live in different layers? Do they, like, I mean,
You know
I guess
what?
is there any material possession in the afterworld?
No,
Afterlife?
no, there's not. There's no material. It's just them.
Okay.
All right, so they don't take anything over. Or
Can they touch each other?
Uh,
So, like, if
I don't.
I die and I hated you, just say, and I wanted to beat the ever-living poop out of you, and we died with this house collapsing on top of us, because obviously Tyler saying hello is hard,
Yeah.
that I wanted to beat you up real bad. And this house fell on top of us, and we were ghosts. And I was like, there ain't no cops around here. I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey, and I start whooping up on you because I wanted to. Would that do nothing? Or would it just be like, I carry over and I'm just angry at you, and you can just go, hey, screw you, dude. I ain't
It's-
doing nothing.
The physics, if you want to call it physics, is completely different on the
Yeah.
other side. I don't, and as a lot of movies portray that's the case, I don't think that's the case. You can project your emotions on other spirits. Or
I've seen
spirits.
Casper a lot of times, and
Yeah.
those ghosts fight each other.
Yeah, well,
The three evil uncles.
I don't think it's like that. From my experience in my conversations, because that was one of the things that's like, is somebody hurting you? No. I mean, we can't get hurt. There's nothing. There's no physical pain.
Is it more of like a mental, like
Like
fight,
an
if
anguish?
you will? Like, you can let them win, but then you're like
There's no.
super sad, or like, oh, I feel like I'm going nuts now because I let the spirit beat me.
Yeah, it's hard to explain because there is no physical pain. It's all emotion and energy on the other
Right.
side. They
So my
can't
only
really
hope of
hurt
actually
each other.
hurting you is just telling your mama jokes for
Or-
like all eternity.
You can
You just keep on trying to come up with them
or just
and be like,
follow
your
the other
mama's
one
butt
around.
is so non-existent that she's on this plane or something like that.
yeah. I mean, it's
don't
they
get
don't
No.
they can't hurt each other. But yes, that is a good example. That
Okay.
you could do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, like, it's really interesting to think of like hostilities that carry over. So, yeah, your mama jokes for all eternity would be great.
Now, what they do like to do, and I'm not talking about demons because I that's a totally different realm.
Yeah.
Not a different realm, but I'm just saying different discussion. But if they find out that you're sensitive and that you can feel more than what's just in this realm,
Yeah.
they can bother you, and they can do several things to you to make you feel uncomfortable. They can impress their will upon you. They can make you feel, like I said, uncomfortable. They can, depending on your sensitivity, you can be attacked mentally and other ways. But it's never harmful.
Yeah.
But it is really annoying, sometimes scary, but you cannot be physically harmed.
So you're saying maybe like anxiety, depression? Could some of that be caused by spirits?
If you are sensitive and you are not aware of it, and you are being attacked by malevolent spirit all the time, that would make anybody go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they would start making
When
you
say
feel
attacked,
terrible.
what do you mean by attacked?
There's several types of attacks. Some are, or most of them are they're all mental, but they will sometimes make you feel a certain way. I feel uncomfortable. If depending on your sensitivity, they will make you. They can project thoughts onto you, or try to make you think certain things, depending on your constitution, and they just try to attack your. What's the best way to put it? Your consciousness.
Your psyche.
Psyche is a good word. Consciousness. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So what if I just want to, mess with somebody for all eternity? Well, until they die. Could I physically flick somebody's ear just once a day? Just out of nowhere, just at work, and just be like,
Yeah.
just that's all I want to do. Like I would almost kill myself to go behind you for the rest of my life, and just
Kind of like
on the back of
Ghost.
your ear. Yeah.
Remember
just-
Ghost when he was in the subway and he was kicking around and he learned how to kick a can?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like that? No. No.
Man.
No, I'm not going to say, okay,
Well,
I
I
can't.
guess I would better live. Than,
I can't say no, because the more you find out about the other side, the more you find
Right.
out you don't know
Right.
things. So it's like, So I can't say yes or no. How did that picture fall off my wall?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that fall off? I would say absolutely not. The spirit world absolutely cannot touch our world. However, when I was discussing it and I said I didn't believe, and the picture fell literally 5 seconds later,
So
it's
yeah.
really hard to believe that that they can't.
Right. Well, apparently they can. Sean.
Apparently they can.
Apparently they can.
Because
Sean.
somebody made a point that night. And that was the only time it happened, but you know
Yeah.
what? That was 5 seconds after I was talking that I didn't believe in. That's all I need to know
Yeah.
about that.
So, like, if you go to like a random place, just say Walmart, because have you ever been out to Walmart, like here in town, and there's like once a week there seems to be an ambulance outside of it? Have you ever noticed that? It's like people are dying at Walmart.
Wow.
Or just are too fat, and I guess they're falling out of their little trolleys.
Wow! Tell me how you really feel.
I'm just saying, maybe.
God.
They do employ the most elder people.
It's true, the elderly, yeah.
Elderly, retired. Welcome to Walmart.
Would you like a cart?
Poop my
So,
pants.
I'll poop my pants. So if you go to like one of those places, do you ever hear weird things? Just like, hey,
Walmart
somebody's trying
ghosts?
to, Walmart ghosts, or like Target ghosts, or like you go to a place that this kind of stuff happens. I'm not talking like your higher end boutique, because you never see the ambulance outside of the higher end boutique, but like where a mass amount of
McDonald's,
or McDonald's, or like the mass public goes to.
Yeah.
And like this stuff happens. But if I was a spirit, or if I was somebody, and I fell off my little scooter, my motorized scooter, like, and I died right there on the spot, I would be pissed off if I was stuck at Walmart for the rest of all eternity. Like, I would try to go home. However, I think they might be too lazy to move away from that spot. So, do you ever hear anything like going to one of those highly populated places, or one of those really popular places for the public?
And are there scooters on the other side?
Yeah, do you hear?
Yeah, never heard the scooters, and no,
Welcome to the other side.
not necessarily. Now, maybe for the people that can't turn it off, right? Because if it's on all the time, that would drive me absolutely insane.
Right.
I only see the other side when I want to. Thank God. that would be a curse if I had it on all the time. And some people say that they have it on all the time and they hate the gift. Of course you're going to hate that
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Because
That's gonna drive you
now
nuts.
It's going to drive you insane.
You're going to be the guy with the tinfoil hat living in the alleyway.
Right. Now, however, I have experienced when I was in a dorm that was previously a nursing home, and I first started getting this. I started going around that place, and I was the only person living there at that time because I worked there and not necessarily was going to school. So I was there during the summer.
So were you a squatter in an old nursing home that you called a dorm?
Actually, I was. That was. I had to go up there. I had to work, and that was the place they put me. And so I was like, okay, I have nothing to do. There's no entertainment here. I'm just going to go entertain myself and see what's going on. I walked into a room, and I was like, hello, anybody here? And I heard, leave me alone. I'm like, what? This was not normal because usually they're just bombarding me. It was like, what? Do you not want me to talk to you? And she's like, just leave me at peace. I don't want to be bothered. Blew my mind. It blew my mind. It was just a peaceful spirit, apparently just hanging out in one of the rooms that she died in because
not want to be messed with.
And she just didn't want to even be talked to. And I'm like, with that experience, that totally started changing the way I thought about how the other side reacts, because it's actually you're talking to people and they have their own thoughts, and a lot of them don't want to be bothered, and they don't. And I've met quite a few other ones that no, don't bother me, don't talk to me, just leave me be, let me rest.
Right.
Wow.
So it doesn't sound too far different from normal people.
Yeah.
Like,
so is it basically
that's
like
who you're talking to. It's just
extroverted,
not everybody's like a little puppy on the other side. It's like, hey, pay attention to me. No, it's not that case. These are real people.
So it's kind of like if we died, it would be like my essence, if you will, is ripped out and it's just floating around out there.
Yeah, you still have a body, but you still have the.
So it's basically me.
Yeah, it's going to be you.
Oh man, I'm taking over the world, spirit world. Anyway. No,
so when you die, if I feel a flick on my ear, if I outlive you,
I
know it's your.
Damn it, Justin! I knew that was you.
Every day.
Oh, my ear.
And it won't ever be at the same times either. It'll be at different times. You're going to be like
3:00 in the morning.
Well, what I'm going to do? No, it's going to be like in the middle of like your morning coffee. So it's going to be like 6 a.m. every morning. You're just feel flick, but it's only going to last for like 3 weeks, and then you're going to expect it. And then it's not going to happen.
Oh, you're those kind of guys.
And then it's going to happen at
6:10.
You're going to be taking your shower and it's going to...
Yeah.
There you go. Ha, and I saw your wiener.
I already don't.
I'm just saying, it's all mind game.
We call those people asses.
Hey, you know what? I love you.
Yeah, whatever. Better not do that to me. Kick your ass.
How?
Oh, that's at a later podcast.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, you'll try. You'll try. By then, I'll be all experienced in that.
Don't mess with me.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Anyway. He's going to kick my ass, Tyler. Jeez.
Well, don't look at me. I don't want to deal with any ghosts.
Come on, man.
No.
I'm talking to the Thinimist here.
Yeah.
What do you call him? The Thinimist?
The Thinimist.
The Thinmint? The Thin Mint?
Oh, I don't want to be. That's not me.
The Thin Mint?
I don't want to be the feminist.
You're not the feminist.
First episode.
Oh, great. We got to
feminist.
re-record this.
Got to redo the whole thing.
The whole episode because
All right,
he's a Thin Mint.
We already pigeonholed the guy. Sorry.
I'm going to edit all this out.
Need that second helping of soup? Head on over to DimensionalSoup.com or check us out on Twitter @DimensionalSoup. Thanks for listening.